Ladies, let me tell you something. You are not just a body. You are not just curves. You are not some man's entertainment, not a trophy, not an accessory to parade around like a new car on Instagram. You are a whole universe wrapped in grace, wrapped in intelligence, wrapped in power. But too many of you, yes, too many have been taught to shrink yourselves into objects. You've been conditioned to believe your value starts with your waistline and ends with your skin tone. You've been taught to chase attention instead of demanding respect, and that's the beginning of the lie. See, we live in a world where validation is sold like candy. He likes your post, you smile. He sends a fire emoji, you feel seen. But let me tell you something straight. A man who only sees your body has already decided to ignore your soul. If his eyes light up when your clothes are tight but dim down when you start talking about your dreams, run, because you were not created just to be touched. You were created to be understood. You were not built for the shallow end of a man's desire. You were crafted for the depths of real love, and real love, it sees the scars and stays. It hears the silence and listens. It stands tall when your world falls apart. But you'll never experience that if you keep handing your body to men who've never earned your spirit. Let that sink in. You are not an audition. You are not here to compete with filters or prove your worth through lingerie or fight for his text back. You are the whole damn show. And if he doesn't see that, it's not your job to convince him. Let me say it plainly. If all he sees is your body, run. Because love without respect is just control. Affection without honor is just manipulation. Attention without intention is just a distraction wrapped in flattery. And your time is too precious to waste on someone who only wants access to your body but not your heart, your mind, your spirit. Now don't get it twisted. There's nothing wrong with loving your body. There's nothing wrong with being desired. But there's a world of difference between being desired and being reduced. You know the difference. You feel it when he doesn't ask how your day was, when he doesn't remember your birthday, when he never asks about your purpose, your pain, or your prayers. He only hits you up late, only compliments your thighs, not your thoughts, only shows up when he's hungry, never when you're hurting. Sis, that's not love. That's convenient. That's a man feeding off your insecurity because he knows you're still learning how to love yourself. But today that ends. Today you raise your standard, not because you're playing hard to get, but because you finally get that you're not for everybody. You're not for men with low vision. You're not for men who need GPS to find your worth. You're not for men who fear your light, so they try to dim it. You are for something deeper, and it's time you acted like it. Let me tell you something else. When a man sees only your body, that's not a reflection of your worth. That's a reflection of his limits, his lack of depth, his inability to appreciate the masterpiece you are. Imagine walking into a mansion with 20 rooms, chandeliers, a grand piano, and instead of exploring all that beauty, he just stands on the porch and talks about the paint color. That's what it's like when a man focuses only on your body. He never stepped inside. He never even tried to know the fullness of who you are. And if you let that kind of man lead you, sis, you will keep shrinking to fit his shallow view, but not anymore. Because I need you to know you are not a meal to be devoured. You are a feast to be honored, a story to be read slowly, a song to be felt deeply. And if he doesn't want to read your pages, he doesn't deserve your cup. Some of you are settling for attention because you've never seen what love with substance looks like. You grew up in chaos. You saw women being used, not cherished. You watched your mother beg for love, accept mistreatment, and call it loyalty. So now you think that's normal. You think that's the cost of being chosen. But hear me clearly. Being chosen should not feel like a loss. It should not cost you your dignity. It should not ask for your silence. It should not punish your boundaries. It should not erase your identity. The right man will not make you beg. He will not make you prove. He will not make you small, because when a real man sees a real woman, he steps up. He protects, provides, pursues, not just physically, but spiritually, emotionally, mentally. He sees beyond the hips. He sees the habit. He sees the discipline, the vision, the future you're building, and he wants in. not to use it, but to honor it. That's the kind of love you deserve, but you will never get that love while entertaining counterfeits, because the wrong one will block the right one. The wrong one will drain you dry until there's nothing left of your self-worth, until you wake up in pieces, wondering how you ended up so far from the woman you used to be. But not anymore, because now you see the signs. Now you trust your intuition. Now you choose yourself fully. Let me tell you why that matters. Because every time you let someone into your life, into your space, into your body, you are making a spiritual transaction. You are giving access to your energy, your future, your peace. So why would you open that door to someone who has no vision for you, no plan, no purpose, just vibes and lust and empty promises? That's how you end up lost, not because you weren't enough, but because you let someone else define your value with a broken ruler. But the truth is, you were never broken, you were never lacking, you were never unworthy. You were just looking for love in a place that had none to give. And now that you know that, it's time to move. So the next time he steps to you with sweet talk and shallow eyes, ask yourself, does he see me or just my frame? Does he celebrate my brilliance or just my beauty? Does he build with me or just take from me? And if the answer is anything less than honor, love, respect, and consistency, run. Run with your head high. Run with your standards high. Run toward your healing. Run toward your peace. Run toward the version of yourself who refuses to settle one more time, because you are worth real love, not just bedroom love, not just Saturday night love, but Monday morning love, sick day love, build an empire love, the kind of love that sees your body, yes, but only after it's seen your soul, after it's held your truth, after it's respected your journey. And that kind of love, it's rare, but it's real, and it's waiting on you to stop giving yourself away to men who only bring half a heart. So choose wisely, because let me tell you something else. When you finally stop settling, you start seeing. You see the way peace feels when you're not waiting on someone to text you back. You see how powerful your mind becomes when it's not distracted by confusion disguised as romance. You see your worth clearly when it's no longer being filtered through someone else's inability to love you right. And that clarity is freedom. It's the moment you wake up and realize you don't need a man to complete you. You need someone who can complement you, build beside you, walk with you, grow through life seasons with you. Not someone who only shows up when it's convenient. Not someone who loves your body but ignores your calling. Listen, if the man can't handle your purpose, he has no business near your body, because your body is sacred ground. And sacred ground is not for the casual, not for the careless, and definitely not for the clueless. Some of y'all have been giving full access to men who don't even pray, men who don't protect your spirit, men who don't speak life into your dream, men who are good with your hips but avoid your healing. Let me be real, that's not just a red flag. That's a whole warning siren, because a man who only wants your body will never invest in your healing. He'll benefit from your brokenness. He'll exploit your need to be seen. He'll feed your loneliness but never satisfy your soul. And if you let that continue, you will confuse pain with passion. You'll think chaos is chemistry. You'll keep saying, he loves me in his own way, while your heart keeps collecting bruises. Let's stop doing that. Let's stop confusing being chosen with being respected. Let's stop thinking a man's desire is the same thing as his devotion. Desire fades, looks fade, bodies change, but character, that lasts. Integrity, that matters. Respect, that's the foundation. If that's not there, you're building on sand. And let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt truly safe with a man? Not just safe from harm, but safe to be seen, safe to be soft, safe to be vulnerable, safe to say no and not be punished with silence, safe to express your needs and not be labeled as too much. That's what you deserve. But you'll never have that if you keep giving yourself to men who only value you for what you look like under dim lights and closed doors. You are more than what can be touched. You are more than what can be captured in a picture. You are more than the compliments he gives you when he wants something. You are power. You are legacy. You are someone's answered prayer. You are a mother of nations, a healer, a warrior, a queen. You don't need to prove that through selfies or submission to weak men, because real love doesn't make you question your value. It confirms it. It doesn't take more than it gives. It multiplies. It doesn't cost you peace. It adds to your joy. So I don't care how fine he is. I don't care how good his game sounds. If he can't see past your body, he doesn't deserve your time. Stop entertaining men who aren't emotionally available. Stop playing therapist to men who won't even pray for you. Stop mistaking chemistry for compatibility. And please hear this. Just because he touches you doesn't mean he values you. Just because he pursues you doesn't mean he honors you. Just because he wants you doesn't mean he's ready for you. Some men chase good women because they think she will fix them. But you are not a rehab center for broken masculinity. You are not a band-aid for generational trauma he refuses to heal from. You are not his savior. You are not his project. You are a woman who's been through hell and kept walking. You've cried yourself to sleep and still showed up the next day. You've sacrificed, you've survived, you've rebuilt yourself from ashes, and you owe it to that version of you, the one who fought like hell to be whole again, to stop letting anyone come in and shatter your peace. Listen to me. You do not chase love. You attract it. By knowing who you are, by loving yourself like it's your full-time job, by refusing to tolerate anything that feels like confusion. Because a man who truly loves you will pursue all of you, not just your figure, not just your face, but your faith, your purpose, your heart. He will not be intimidated by your strength. He will not be threatened by your voice. He will not ask you to shrink, submit, or stay silent. He will lead by love, not by ego. He will provide more than money. He'll provide presence. And most of all, he will see you, every version, the healed and the healing, the strong and the soft, the dreamer and the doubter. That's love. That's legacy. That's what you deserve. So let me close this part by saying it one more time with no hesitation, no apology, no compromise. If all he sees is your body, run, because your body is not a destination. It's just the beginning of the end. And the right man, he'll want to walk the whole road with you. And listen, I know it's hard. I know it's tempting to settle. I know you've gone to bed with your tears soaking the pillow, wondering if maybe this is all love really is. Maybe it's supposed to hurt. Maybe it's supposed to feel like guessing games and sleepless nights and always being almost enough. But let me wake you up. That's not love. That's survival. And you weren't born to survive love. You were born to thrive in it, to flourish, to bloom, to walk hand in hand with someone who doesn't just tolerate your soul, but adores it. But to receive that, you must first believe that you deserve it. You must first love yourself deeper than any man ever could. Because when you set the tone for your own worth, you'll stop letting other people write your value in pencil. Let me say this real clear. A man's inability to love you right is not your fault. His blindness to your depth is not your shortcoming. You were just offering queen energy to someone who only knew how to treat playthings. Stop teaching men how to disrespect you by accepting the bare minimum. Stop explaining your boundaries like they're optional. Stop waiting for him to wake up one day and magically see your worth. If he doesn't see it from the start, he doesn't deserve a front row seat to your life. You are not hard to love. You're just trying to be loved by someone who doesn't even love themselves. You're trying to get water from a well that's been dry for years, hoping one more compliment, one more sacrifice, one more late night text will turn him into the man you dreamed of. But sis, you can't build a husband out of red flags. You can't raise a grown man into emotional maturity. You can't be the glue and the sparkle and the storm shelter and still be whole. You're exhausted because you keep giving everything to people who offer nothing back but confusion and compliments. And that is spiritual theft. That is emotional poverty dressed in charm. That is a dangerous addiction to attention when what your soul really needs is connection. But that changes changes today. You will not water dead gardens. You will not negotiate with potential. You will not settle for half love when you were made to experience it in full color. Let me tell you something else. Every time you say no more, heaven claps. Every time you walk away from a man who only sees your body, you reclaim your identity. Every time you choose peace over passion, respect over rhythm, purpose over popularity, you rise. And this is your season to rise from low standards, to rise from toxic patterns, to rise from being the ride or die when no one ever rides for you. You don't need to be the woman who carries everyone's weight but never has a shoulder for her own pain. You don't need to be the one proving her worth through patience, forgiveness, and endless chances. The right man, he won't make you audition. He won't wait until you're broken to appreciate you. He'll show up ready. He'll show up healed. He'll show up seeing you, and he'll never reduce you to your body because he'll be too busy celebrating your spirit. But here's the truth. You can't attract a man like that until you become the woman who doesn't settle for anything less. That means boundaries. That means standards. That means walking away even when your heart begs you to stay. It means loving yourself so loudly that silence from a man doesn't feel like a loss. It means holding space for the love you want, even if it means being alone for a while. It means refusing to make your body a consolation prize for men who never earned your heart, because real love will see your mind first. It'll study your habits. It'll protect your peace. It'll show up on time, speak with intention, and move with consistency. Real love will never ask you to trade your intuition for excitement. It will never feel like a gamble. It will never leave you guessing. But hear me, the first love you need to master is the one in the mirror, because when you love her fully, fiercely, unconditionally, she stops chasing breadcrumbs. She stops begging for affection. She stops performing for attention. She demands the feast she brings to the table. So tonight I want you to sit with this. What would your life look like if you only entertained what fed your spirit? What kind of men would you attract if you refused to settle for being someone's fantasy instead of someone's future? What kind of woman could you become if you stopped waiting to be seen and started seeing yourself clearly? Because you are a masterpiece, not because of your makeup or your dress or your measurements, but because of your resilience, your wisdom, your laughter after pain, your softness after betrayal, your strength after being abandoned. And if a man can't see that, if all he sees is a body, then he was never qualified to hold your heart. So walk boldly. Walk like you know your worth. Walk like every step away from the wrong one is a step closer to the right one. And let your silence speak louder than your begging ever did. You're not for boys who want access. You're for kings who bring alignment. Let your energy say this before your mouth does. If all he sees is my body, he will never touch my soul, because the body is temporary. But your essence, that's eternal, that's rare, that's divine. So protect it, honor it, choose it every single time, and never forget, if all he sees is your body, you were never meant to be seen by him in the first place. So let's talk about what's next. Because now that your eyes are open, you can't go back to sleep. Now that you see the pattern, you can't keep calling it fate. Now that you know your value, anything less will feel like violence. This is where you evolve. This is the moment you stop confusing loneliness with love. This is the season you stop romanticizing struggle and calling it destiny. This is the part of your story where you realize being alone is not the enemy. Being mistreated while attached is let that sink in. Because a woman at peace with herself is more powerful than a woman chasing someone else's presence. You don't need a man to give you a name, to give you meaning, to give you permission to shine. You are already walking, breathing royalty. You are already more than enough, and any man who fails to see that, that's his loss, not your lesson. But here's what happens when you level up. You're going to get tested. You're going to hear those same sweet lines from men who look like the answer, but act like the past. You're going to feel tempted to go back, not because it's better, but because it's familiar. You're going to feel the ache of patience, the ache of waiting, the ache of healing. But let me tell you this, nothing is more painful than betraying yourself just to be held by someone who doesn't see you. And you've done that long enough. So now you wait, you grow, you build. You pour love into yourself so deeply that anything fake can't even get through the front gate. You love yourself so boldly that a man knows from day one, she's not like the rest. She knows who she is. And when you walk like that, talk like that, live like that, you stop chasing this because you realize real love doesn't need a rescue mission. It finds you, it meets you, it recognizes you. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you saw you? I'm not talking about your body. I'm not talking about the mirror self. I'm talking about the real you. The girl who survived heartbreak and still smiles. The woman who held it down for everyone else and still kept dreaming. The soul who prayed through pain nobody even saw, because that woman, she deserves to be seen. She deserves to be celebrated. She deserves love that doesn't just touch her skin but speaks life into her future. But to attract that, you have to stop negotiating with men who are still addicted to surface. You have to stop dressing up red flags and potential and calling them projects. You are not a teacher for grown boys who never learned how to value a queen. You don't owe anyone your body just because they compliment your beauty. You don't owe anyone access just because they're persistent. You don't owe anyone your softness until they prove they can handle your strength. And let me be clear, being desired is not the same as being respected. Being wanted is not the same as being pursued with purpose. Being chased is not the same as being chosen. You deserve the kind of love that doesn't just want your Saturdays, but wants your Monday mornings, your spiritual growth, your silence, your chaos, your realness. And here's the truth. The man who's for you, he will see. He'll see past your lipstick, past your lashes, past the shape of your thighs. He'll see your calling. He'll hear the pain behind your laughter. He'll ask how your soul is doing, not just how your day was. He'll pay attention not to impress you, but to know you. He will not shrink in the presence of your light. He will not flinch when you speak truth. He will not play games with your heart just to see how far he can push. Because when a man is healed, when he's rooted in purpose, when he honors God, he will not touch what he cannot carry. He will not break what he's not prepared to build. He will not take what he's not ready to protect. But until you believe you're worth that, you'll keep giving discounts on something that's priceless. You'll keep saying yes to men who only deserve enough. You'll keep handing out pieces of your heart like samples, hoping someone will finally choose you. But you have to choose you first. Choose you in your quiet seasons. Choose you when no one is watching. Choose you when it hurts to walk away. Choose you when it's easier to stay. Because the more you choose you, the more you attract people who choose you too. People who don't flinch at your fire. People who see your value without being threatened by it. People who come to add, not to take. And I get it. Waiting is hard. Healing is hard. Walking away is hard. But do you know what's harder? Staying in places that drain your spirit, giving your body to people who never earned your trust, waking up years later and realizing you built a life around someone who never saw you. So if you hear nothing else I say today, hear this. You are worthy of a love that goes beyond your body, a love that knows your mind, a love that respects your truth. A love that holds your hand in public and your heart in private. A love that calls out the queen in you every single day. But until that love finds you, be that love to yourself. Wake up and speak life over yourself. Look in the mirror and bless the woman looking back. Treat yourself like royalty and stop allowing peasants to sit at your table. Because your energy is currency. Your time is sacred. Your body is a temple. Your love is a gift. Don't hand it to anyone who's not ready to build with it. And if all he sees is your body, that's all he ever wanted. Not your wisdom, not your faith, not your legacy. Just the physical. That's not love. That's lust in disguise. That's emptiness wearing cologne. That's hunger pretending to be connection. And sis, you were not made to feed the hungry with your spirit. So stand tall, stand clear, stand strong in your standards. Not because you're hard to get, but because you know what you carry. You are not disposable. You are not replaceable. You are not just a body. You are a woman made of vision, purpose, strength, and light. And if he can't see all that, run. So what does it mean to really be seen? It means someone values the way your mind works, the way your spirit shows up in a room. the way you lead, the way you nurture, the way you carry weight and still rise with elegance. It means someone looks at you and sees more than attraction. They see alignment more than desire. They see divine design. You are more than someone's weekend escape. You are more than the girl they call when they're bored or lonely or drunk or broken. You are not a backup plan. You are not plan B. You are not the maybe later or the if nothing else works out. You are the woman who turns silence into healing, who turns pain into wisdom, who turns empty rooms into sacred spaces. And if he can't feel that, if all he wants is the outside while ignoring everything eternal about you, then you run and you don't look back. Because there's a different kind of man out there. A man who doesn't run when things get real. A man who is not afraid of depth. A man who has fought his own demons and now knows how to protect your light, not dim it. A man who knows that your value is not just in how you look, but in who you are when the world isn't watching. You won't find him by lowering your standards. You won't meet him by being everything to everyone. You won't recognize him if you're still distracted by who's liking your selfies, but ignoring your soul. Let me say this again. Your body is a temple, not a trap. You don't bait a man with your skin. You attract the right one with your spirit. You don't lure him in by showing more. You draw him in by being more present, more healed, more whole, more powerful. And I know the world doesn't teach that. The world tells you to perform, to pose, to post, to pretend, to fit into this mold that was never made with you in mind. And it convinces you that unless you show your body, no one will show up. But here's what they don't tell you. The man who's only here for your body will leave as soon as something else catches his eye. Because when it's only physical, there's no root. And without roots, anything will blow it away. That's why you build with intention. That's why you protect your peace. That's why you say no loudly, boldly, without apology. No to the late night texts with no commitment. No to the half love that drains you. No to the almost relationships, situations. Let's just vibe conversations. You are not here to be figured out. You are here to be chosen. You don't compete with other women. You compete with the woman you were yesterday. And every day, you get better, wiser, more focused, less tolerant of mediocrity. You don't chase because royalty doesn't run after beggars. You don't beg because queens don't kneel to fools. And you don't settle because your legacy is bigger than this moment of loneliness. Let me say this loud for the ones still healing. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to require effort. You are allowed to ask for emotional safety. You are allowed to walk away the moment you are not being valued. You are not difficult. You are disciplined. You are not too much. You are just enough for the right one. You are not intimidating. You are the mirror that shows him where he needs to grow. And sis, let him grow on his own. You're not here to build him. You're here to build with him after he's done his work. You are not a life raft. You are a lighthouse. Stop pouring into people who keep poking holes in your soul. Stop lowering your standard just because you're tired of waiting. Because what's worse than waiting is wasting years in the wrong hand. One day, you're gonna look back at the version of you who cried over boys who didn't care, who gave herself away in pieces, hoping one day it would all be enough, who felt invisible in rooms where she gave everything. And you're gonna say she was strong. She didn't break. She rose. So rise now. You don't need to wait for closure. You don't need one more apology. You don't need him to finally get it. You need to choose you today. Choose you before he ever does. Choose your peace over potential. Choose your growth over gain. Choose your worth over wounds. Because when you do, everything shifts. Your standards shift. Your friendships shift. Your energy shifts. And suddenly, the same kind of men who used to approach you, they stop coming around because they know she's not accessible like that anymore. And the ones who are worthy, they come correct. They come ready. They come with vision because your presence demands it. So don't dull your light. Don't tone it down to make him comfortable. Don't fold your dreams into tiny pieces so he won't feel small. You've done that before, and it cost you your joy. But now you shine, you speak, you stand, and you walk away the moment your value is not seen. And every time you walk away from what you've outgrown, you walk closer to the version of yourself that doesn't settle. So I leave you with this. Your body is beautiful, but it is not your worth. Your beauty is a gift, but it is not your currency. Your curves are stunning, but they are not your crown. Your crown is your mind. Your power is your voice. Your worth is your standard. Your legacy is your life. And always remember this, the one who is for you will see your soul first.